So this is okay.
We will send you. You'll send you details in a week's time. So it might be during this show that I get a new email. So let's keep it scrolled down a little bit. This you can use as another thing, like one of the breadcrumbs that you think that next week is an important week, that stuff is changing, because they told me stuff is changing, as you just read.
Ladies and gentlemen, comrades, welcome to our episode 007. I am laughing because we started recording a little bit earlier. It is today, the 20th of March, and it is 4 p.m. right here. So Nikita is actually awake and at home. This is an ad hoc episode. Bas was available now, Quanterscan, which is really nice. That means that there's going to be a ton of interruptions, most likely, because Nikita is playing the Elder Scrolls Online behind my green screen. So if there are any further interruptions, apologies. I'll do my best to edit them out wherever needed. So Tim is not here because Tim is in France right now. He is chasing the Dutch football team. They're playing in France, apparently. I am not in the loop on that at all. So he's there, and we have a guest, which is, as I said, Quanterscan, which is really nice. So this episode is going to be a little bit improvisation and ad hoc, but it's going to be very interesting, no doubt, because Bas is always something when it comes to the status of the developer development side of things. And really glad to have you here, Bas. How's life?
I'm doing okay, thank you. And thanks for accommodating me at the middle of the day. You reached out to see if we can do an episode, and now it worked for me, and I'm happy you are working around it as we speak. So, well, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's all improvisation and new, not new for me because I've been here before, but no real preparation went into this episode. So forgive me if I'm, in Dutch we say verstoethaspel all my words.
That's okay, man. We're all Dutch here, everybody knows. So yeah. So what has been up? There was an update last week. We didn't even go over that on the show because that was in the week of the Dutch episode.
Which one?
Yeah, was it that 02.26 something?
Oh, possibly. Yeah. I think it's something about monitoring. I actually responded on Twitter that they should fix something else, and that's all I remember about this.
Oh, and it was wonderful. And that was when they said, yeah, do you maybe have some information? They were like, yeah, dude, it's ticket number, this, that, and that.
Yeah.
Oh, gave you a good laugh for sure. Yeah, so that update was a monitoring update. Maybe you can illustrate a little bit what that means while I try to look that up.
So you can utilize Overledger to keep track of stuff on the blockchain. So let's say we run a DLT-based thing together, and we have a wallet that we are both owners of, or have some ownership of, and we want to include the first hire we do, the COO, and we want to grant him ownership. We can set up a monitor to keep track of not what that account is doing, but the account owners. Let me see if it's actually, okay, this is actually a perfect example because that's exactly what it's doing in this case. So then you can also get a message when I remove the COO or shared account owner. So when I remove him unilaterally without your permission, you can get a notification, or not really, you can get a notification, you can utilize Overledger to allow yourself a system where you would possibly get a notification. So when I'm giving examples, please know I'm only explaining a part of the tech stack. You will need to have stuff around it to actually make it work. But Overledger, the part that Overledger is responsible for, is keeping track and sending it somewhere. But it is not to your phone. It's to a system that then can send it to your phone or whatever, your website, your accounting software, whatever kind of fun use case you can come up with.
Okay. How and why is this so significant that they allocate an entire update to it? To me, it seems very basic and.
Yeah, that's why I say it isn't. It is. I think for them, it's kind of nice to have something bi-weekly to share. And I'm even of the mind that they might be staggering some of these little small updates, so they have something in 2 weeks again. While possibly it could be released as in bigger bulk. But I don't know. I don't work for Quant, so that's just my assumption. But in itself, this isn't super interesting. But that's why it's also just a point release, right? Like it's from 0.2 to 0.26. So it's not it's not a 3.0 or 2.3, whatever. It's like a super small incremental update, which is reflected in the version number.
Yeah. So, and you commented, please fix authentication issue or provide us with information on how to work around it. And then you post the error, it's type error, cannot read properties, blah, blah. And they responded indeed, but hi, can you send us an email with as much information as possible about this? Boss,
yeah, so
it's available under ticket.
Yeah. So actually that I was kind because I could have included since Tuesday. So that was, I think, since the 14th or something, or whatever, a few days preceding. Let me check. I don't have I have a MacBook without a calendar, so that's cool. Let me see. Oh yeah, Tuesday. So it was at least available to them for like a couple of days because this message is from the 17th, I think. So yeah, at least 3 days at that time. So yeah. I was a little bit annoyed that again I was waiting for 3 days to be able to even interact with Overledger, which is my own dumb annoyance because I'm not actually doing a lot with Overledger at the moment because I've simmered down on development for now since reliability and interesting use cases aren't really there for me at this point in time.
Okay. So, I mean, you created Quanterscan, right? Which is kind of like a multi-chain blockchain explorer. Development on that is
sure,
on hold in a way.
So I think I've been here before in your show to explain that the only thing that I wanted to create was an example to show the power of Overledger to our community, right? Because I was digging around in developer chat like the whole week, and not whole week, but like a year or whatever, 2 years, 3 years at some point, and nothing was happening, and we're all like doing how you can call it fundamental analysis and all kind of tea leaf reading about what is possible. And I was actually like, let's show something, right? Why is this stuff valuable to developers or to companies that hire developers, and what are potential use cases? I'm not a great mind when it comes to coming up with cool use cases that will make me a lot of money. So I went for the lowest hanging fruit and just said, okay, with the current feature set, what is the easiest thing I could come up with to show that you can use a single syntax to target multiple chains, which is pretty much the definition of what Overledger is, right? You learn the interactions once, then you change 2 or 3 variables, let's say Ethereum mainnet to Ethereum Polygon or to Bitcoin or whatever, and with those simple changes in your in your language, you can target a different chain, a different technology even. So you can ask for information on the Bitcoin DLT, but you can, with the simple change, you can ask information on the Ethereum mainnet or any EVM or like the supported EVM chains. So that is what I started building at some point, right? And actually, it's functional, and it's been functional for some time, and it's also down a lot of the time. But that's because sometimes I mess up, but also a lot of the times Overledger doesn't work. I need to mute my phone because I didn't realize we were doing a podcast. So when reliability issues got relatively annoying to me, I choose to move away a little bit because it was just plain annoying to me, right? I've been in several video calls with Quant and with developers from Quant to fix stuff, only to see it break a little later again, which is fine, but not if you're acting like everything is super functional in your release notes and stuff like that. So now I sound a little bit more annoyed that than I actually am, but honestly, it might be a good representation of what the truth, because I did move away from developing Quanterscan for months now, because it just wasn't there for me.
No.
It has been working for a couple of months now, until last week when they introduced multi-factor authentication, which is in general a good thing, right? An extra layer of security before you can reach your development account or developer account. But for some reason, like 10 days later after they introduced it, it started messing with authentication bearer tokens, and Overledger stopped, not Overledger, but the authentication system to get into Overledger stopped working for me. And then, well, I couldn't do stuff again. So my choice to move away was validated at that time as something interesting to pick up it at a later date, but not right now.
Yeah, so it's a couple of steps forwards and then a major leap backwards. That's what you're actually saying in a way.
Well, if you cannot reach the complete system for 3 or 4 days at all, that's not a step backwards. That's just non-functional.
Yeah, that's fair.
And look, I'm running like a stupid hobby project to showcase some possibilities behind a password, because I don't want to look like a dumbass having a non-functional website, right? So if I would be running an actual business over Overledger, we would have a much larger issue. Now I'm just annoyed. As a business entity, I would be actually pissed.
Yeah, I'm curious because what you said was the most simple thing you could think of, the most low-hanging fruit being Quanterscan, but Gil was actually pretty excited and didn't even think of this, right? Or do I misrepresent? I believe you told me at some point in time that Gil was excited for what you were building, and that was something that they would add to their list. A multi.
You'll need to come again, because our connection is super bad at this time. So you said at some, and then I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, at some point in time, Gilbert told you that it was really interesting to him that you build a multi-chain blockchain explorer, and that was something that they hadn't thought about and that they would maybe implement in the future themselves.
Well, I think that's a misrepresentation, but so I can't find it in my emails. But at some point, Gilbert did send me an email like, "Oh, that's super fun that you're building it. So we were impressed with the state of the things that you did come up with, or whatever." They didn't say anything about implementing my work or whatever into their stuff, right?
No. That's not what I wanted to know, but just a general idea.
Yeah, but also that's probably him just trying to be nice, right? Because it's it's a normal thing to do. So I don't know. And honestly,
Yeah.
I think they used to have some sort of similar product with Seek that should have some pretty large overlap in the Venn diagram of feature set. So honestly, I don't know. Again, for me, it was just a relatively simple thing where I could actually see what I needed to learn and build to make it work, right? So because a product is nice, but you also need to have a user interface, and it also needs to be understandable. So for my use case, like showing whatever, it actually was pretty fun. And you are in position, right, to share your screen, I think. So before you do, because I want to find a general Ethereum address that's not yours, right? Because we don't want to dox me or you. So any kind of Ethereum address, like the Quant developer, or how you call it, deployer account. Yeah. If you copy that address and you go to Quanterscan,
I could also give you screen sharing rights, which is
I'm not set up for screen sharing. I have way too much stuff on my screen at this time. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Where will you be sharing?
Sorry?
Do you also want me to log into Quanterscan?
Yeah, the password is not a secret, right? It's just Quanterscan with a capital Q and a capital S, 2022, and then all capitals beta, BETA. Should work for anybody that wants to mess around with it.
Attention, Quanterscan is available as a very early beta. It is currently under active development, so we cannot promise everything will work as intended. However, we can promise that there will be a lot of placeholders and spelling mistakes. This public good is only in its preliminary stages. Please don't forget to provide feedback so we can continue improving.
Yeah, at some point I found that funny to include. So if you...
It looks a lot prettier than it did before.
Well, it's been in this state for a long time. So if you push the Ethereum whatever color, the gray color top left, or not top left, but yeah, there. So now we've selected a DLT. You can put in the address that you copied. Like
I didn't copy an address. Where did you put an address?
Let me find one.
Yeah, please.
So you scroll around and say nice things. I'll look.
Yeah. Okay. So cookies. Click here to close the website. What are you stealing from me with my cookies? Because I usually want to customize them so you cannot get shit. Apparently.
Probably everything. No, honestly, I don't know, but I felt like grown up to include it because it's not the thing, right? So there's a cookie currently to keep track of which DLT you have selected. Otherwise, I cannot change the colors of the website. So yeah. I just went to Etherscan and totally random account that interacted with the Quant how you call it, smart contract. So it shouldn't
did you put it in Telegram or
dox anyone. Yeah, I put it in the Zoom thing. Should I put it in the Telegram?
No, I got it here.
So if you, again, it's just to show, and then push address ID, no transaction, I did that one. See, so here, this was for me a super simple thing that I could come up with to search for the same address across different chains. Hopefully it works, otherwise I look like a dick again. See, so here we're doing actually a bunch of Overledger calls to get information from the Ethereum mainnet chain. We get the information from Polygon, and we get information from XDC. This is a super simple use case of what Overledger can do, right? You can use one single syntax to target 3 different sources of information, sources as in DLTs.
Mm-hmm.
These are super simple, basic informations like how many, whatever does an address hold. So for Ethereum, we're actually doing like the main token, ETH, but we're also doing a smart contract interaction to see how much quant that address is actually holding, like 1.3, whatever. So for the two other chains, Polygon and XTC, there's nothing there, right?
Your connection is laggy again, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's because my partner, my wife, is sending me so many messages about IKEA, and I'm annoyed.
Imagine your internet being so terrible that simple messages would actually lag out your internet.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy, honestly, though, that messages fucks with the internet so much. But again, this was like a super simple use case that I could come up with an actual user interface and stuff like that, right? So we're doing native interactions with DLTs, we're doing a smart contract interaction, and which is actually pretty much all you can do with Overledger, right? Smart contract interactions and native interactions. We're not talking about atomic swaps and two-phase commits and stuff like that, because that's just not available to the public. And we assume and hope that that stuff is in more or less available to the enterprise side of things. But the enterprise side of things is just something that we all decided that is there, and we found some crumbs and proof of existence at some stages, but it's not like you can or I can say, okay, let's now deploy this on the enterprise version of Overledger, right? So we can only mess with what's available to us.
Yeah, nice. I think well, at least it seems like Overledger is kind of working, giving at least a reading.
This is a result,
yeah, so that's good. And you made a very nice bridge to well, maybe the business side of things, right? There was this article published today, March 20th, by Andrew Carrier. Is this right? Sorry, the title of the article is "The Next Generation's Family Silver: Tokenizing Non-bankable Assets" by Andrew Carrier. This speaks about how stuff just can get tokenized, and not being like stocks, bonds, money, whatever, but other stuff. Link to this is in the description. And they're talking about stuff like increased liquidity and lower transaction costs, increased transparency, etc. Is this what you would classify as a business use case?
I would, yeah. So, and this would be actually a business use case for the public main net, while some parts of your tech stack could be permissioned DLTs, of course. I don't care how you run your business, but if we're talking about increased transparency, it's likely that you're doing this stuff on a public chain, right? But again, yeah, this is allowing people, or well, this think piece is contemplating possibilities to have more tokenized assets. A product, it isn't. Galileo would be a product, right? So the project that is doing actually, or is aiming to do some actual tokenization of physical assets, that is actually tokenizing stuff and making it available on chain or whatever, because I'm not really keeping up with Galileo, I don't know, but as far as I've understood, you could possibly see what your tokenized Rolex is doing on chain. So let's say I have a tokenized Rolex, I don't like it anymore, I sell it. 25 years later, I could conceivably find it on the blockchain to see which address owns it. If it's doxed or not, that's a second question, but I could conceivably see what is the state of it, because again, I'm not familiar with Galileo's project, so I don't know if they can update the state of a product that is now in bad condition and broken glass or whatever. But okay, so then I can see 25 years later, so it has 3 services, a new glass, and it's currently owned by Ethereum address that is from the analytics, probably in Dubai, whatever. I can find it that way. One of the big things that's actually missing in DLT world is messaging, but that's a tangent. But I cannot easily send a random address a message like, hey guy, who are you? Let's call. But in the future, you might be able to, and then I can reach out to the owner address of that of my old fun Rolex watch to possibly get it back or whatever.
Okay, so looking at this, right? This article, speculation here seems timely as Galileo claims they will go live with their QRC20 Leox token launch on the 27th. That would mean that is in 7 days from now, so that's going to be next Monday then.
Okay.
That would require either enterprise to be ready or public to be ready. And as you stated, right, OVL public is definitely not ready. You checked before the show. So
what I told you before the show is that Galileo didn't deploy their QRC20 token yet. As far as I've understood, their QRC20 token has nothing to do with their Tokenise product, because that would be a QRC 721 token, and I've never seen them even mentioning it before.
No, in Tokenise, you can create both the QRC20 as well as the QRC 721. That's both under the Tokenise banner. Well, at least
apologies. So both haven't been deployed as far as I can see.
Yeah. So, they're part of the same package. When you open up, what's that? The tokenized.quant.network, something like that. You get the option, or you should get the option for both. Last time I was in there, I believe only the QRC20 bit was up in that regard. But yeah, they need to deploy that there, and I think looking at the transparency that they claim they will be providing. Yeah, and I'm not with Galileo anymore, by the way. Okay. So I don't have I don't have very current information on this, but if they want to provide their transparency, the only way they can do that, right, is by using the Overledger public mainly, rather than enterprise. Because if they go on the enterprise side of things, arguably nobody can see what is going on there, and that would defeat the purpose.
Possibly, because we don't know anything about them.
Yeah, go.
So, well, I couldn't tell you anything about this with authority because I've never been able to interact with enterprise, right? So it's all assumptions, but it's possible that you can, from enterprise Overledger, you can still interact with permissionless DLTs. So it wouldn't be mutually exclusive. But what I can see that if you're using connect.quant.network to access their tokenized product, if a coin or NFT, a fungible or non-fungible, whatever is deployed, I can see in Overledger if it's there or not. Because one of the fundamentals of being able to interact with your interoperable friends in the world, you need to know of their existence, right? So if I don't know that there's things to interact with, I cannot interact with them. So Overledger provides a way to query a list of fungible tokens that are supported and non-fungible tokens that are supported. So if I query that list, Leox or Leox, so I'm not sure what the pronunciation should be, isn't there at this time.
Yeah. 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 Interesting.
But they have
And
a week. They have a week left. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And they obviously also have their PNFTs, right? They have their Galileo founders NFTs, and they have their Nebula NFTs. They have all been
And those are
right.
definitely not Overledger powered.
No, right now they are definitely ERC20. That's also what they claim and state, which is fine. But the point is that eventually they should become QRC20, meaning that they could then roam on every chain and only exist on the chain where they are roaming on, if that makes sense. But that's also not happening yet. So yeah, TikTok. It's going to be interesting to see if everything is ready.
But I don't care about Galileo or whatever. So actually,
no, that's not the point.
I use them as an example that would be the product of the think piece that Andrew today or yesterday, whatever, published about tokenizing non-bankable assets, I think he called them.
Yeah. Well, what was interesting, what I was going to say is that this could provide us with a timeline as to when OVN public is actually then accessible, and maybe you can start tinkering around with your baby again.
Okay. Might be. I'm not holding my breath, honestly. So I think, and I'm not trying to how you call it, talk down to Quant Network or something, but I think they kind of feel like their public mainnet has been ready, or at least they act like it in all their release notes, like for a good while now, right? No known issues, whatever. But honestly, it's been.
Show me one transaction where no QNT is needed.
I actually did show them the transactions where no QNT is needed, but that's maybe a story for a different time.
No, we shared it already here, man. There's another episode where we showed that we actually sent the transaction with 0 QNT for free.
But okay, yeah. So, but that's one of the. We chalked it up to one of the columns that there should be an enterprise version where all this stuff is really true, what they're all saying, right? So, likely. So, as far as I know, and as far as I would assume, Galileo is going to run their product on what we consider to be public mainnet. So, your assumption that if they want to be live in a week is kind of pointing to the fact that it should be reliable during that time. We'll see. Because the last change they introduced, multi-factor authentication, fucked the whole system and made sure people cannot interact with Overledger. And
it broke more than it fixed.
Who knows? But I always get the feeling that I'm the only one dicking around on Overledger, and then they use my ticket as, oh wow, that's new to us. First time we hear it. Because there's no users on public main. So that was my assumption I was working under for a long time. First, I thought I was just dumb and not utilizing it correctly. Then it changed to, oh, I'm probably one of the only users that's actively doing stuff. That changed in the last couple of weeks because we got some new friends in developer chat in Quant Network, Telegram.
Yeah, tell me about that. Tell me about that.
Well, you should ask him on your show, man. The Juan War, I don't know the pronunciation, so I will just call him JJ. Ask him, man. He seems like a good kid or a good guy that is messing with the same thing I've been doing, like the developer course and stuff like that. He's much better suited to do that stuff because he's actually, I think. He has a computer science background, but ask him. But he ran into the same authentication issue. So at that time, I at least wasn't the only one having the issue, and I was also not the one that is doing wrong, right? So I wasn't filling something in, something in a bad way that is not functional. Again, now I sound like I'm shitting on Quant Network. I'm sort of am because public mainnet is just not their jam, right? It's just not the focus, and it's like an excuse to interact with their public every 2 weeks to say, "Oh, we have a new update." But so far, it amounts to a big pile of one. I don't want to call it nothing, but that's super unkind. But a big pile of something that is potentially cool in the future, but not really right now.
Yeah, yeah. Can I have a wee tiny break?
Of course.
Let me see. How do I pause this? Right. All right. So, there's a new guy in town also developing, which is interesting. Juanjo. Don't know how to pronounce this either, but that's good, man. That's really good. Curious to see in a week where everything will be.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's about time, right? I mean, eventually it will have to start doing something. It's
and there have been some big reconciliation updates rumored, like consolidating enterprise and mainnet and some other stuff that is kind of rumored or about to happen. So we'll see. I've heard a lot of things through the grapevine over the past half year, whatever. But timelines are interesting thing because time is pretty flexible in this world. So we'll see. What actually might be pretty interesting for you, because I don't think this is a secret. Wait, talk with your internet friends for a few minutes. Let me check my email to see if it is actually a secret before I can tell you about the stuff on the show. Yeah,
cool. Yeah. So let's take it real quick to this article, right? So what this reads is when we think of high net worth families and their assets from a professional wealth management perspective, we often think of cash, stocks, and other easily quantifiable investments. However, a significant portion of ultra high net worth wealth is tied up in assets that are harder to manage and quantify. Things like real estate, vintage cars, art, wine, jewelry, and other passion interests. Accenture estimates that nearly half of the world's ultra high net worth wealth is held in these non-bankable assets, equating to around 30 trillion globally. So that's an enormous amount of wealth tied up in there. And moving back a small step to Galileo, right? And what they are doing with tokenizing stuff is that it actually makes stuff like that liquid. No pun intended, but wine is not liquid at all because, yeah, how are you going to quickly have cases of wine change hands? You don't. Also, you have storage and all that other stuff, which is terrible. So when you tokenize things like this, you can have them in the general storage. There's also this thing, Dutch whiskey investments, if I'm not mistaken. They do the same with whiskeys. Yeah. Oh yeah, Boss tipped me that actually, which is really cool. And they have
that's actually me, man.
Yeah. They have actually like climatized vaults where they hold bottles, like expensive, really expensive bottles, and people can buy bottles as an investment. They do not have necessarily, as far as I know, a market where people can easily trade that across platforms and such. Galileo will tend to solve that as well. But then you have a lot more opportunity to actually capitalize on price appreciation of what you own, right? So a vintage car, everybody can imagine that those appreciate in value. Same with certain art pieces. Which having them exchange hands in a week 4 times, it's not happening right now. And by tokenizing that, that can actually become a reality. And if people then choose that to have their item redeemed, as an example from Galileo, then there will be logistics in place to make sure that that can happen. So you can actually get the car into your garage. Under certain conditions, of course, you cannot sell something that is not validated or authenticated, because that's right now a problem, because there's a lot of projects claiming to have NFTs for real world items. But if the real world item is still in my hands, or not even at all, and I just created an NFT stating that I have this, that doesn't improve the order of the universe. So there's a lot of nooks and crannies, and
that's only one of the interesting use cases, right?
Yeah.
Because don't forget, like something like insurance would be super interesting as well, right? So that you have
connection is terrible, boss. You have to say again your insurance thing.
You need to get better internet, my friend.
I am on a 300 Mbit connection, brother. I have no worries.
1 gig
Nothing.
up and down. 1 gig
and I have a cable.
Are
you on Wi-Fi?
Of course, I'm on cable. I'm a gentleman. No, but honestly, so you talked about trading, right? We're not going to do a dick measuring speed testing because I will win. Don't worry.
I'm curious now.
Already looks terrible, man. What's your ping? Oh well, 14 is actually impressive. So I'm not too mad. So is my connection actually working while you're playing with your internet graphics now, or no?
No, it's all good. It's all good. Continue.
Okay. No, but you talked about trading your tokenized assets. There are more use cases, right? Insuring against, loaning against, stuff like that. I think it's a lower hanging fruit. So if I have a policy that states that I own several different cars or watches, art pieces, whatever type of non-bankable assets, that those NFTs or whatever, those tokens, the tokenized assets can be included in a smart contract that allow me to increase my line of credit at my bank, or gives me authority in some kind of system to utilize, right? So there are different types of use cases for tokenized assets, some of which are interesting, some of which are less interesting to me, at least.
Yeah. Did you find what you were looking for?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you want to finish up, how you call it, reading this article.
No, that people should just read for themselves. I think the most interesting part was what you just added, and this, right, over the next 25 years, estimated baby boomers will transfer up to 68 trillion to their children, which is an enormous amount of money. And looking that most of the boomers' children are, well, the millennials, right? Or am I miscalculating now? There's got to be a lot of money getting handed over to a tech savvy generation, and we are still really, I'm not going to say it. Let's move on. Bas, I see something in the chat on.
Yeah, does the link work for you?
I don't know. Can I click it with screen share on?
I will ask for forgiveness instead of permission if it's needed.
Okay.
So this is actually an email I got from Quant like a week or two ago, which you can read.
Okay.
I don't think this is a super secret because there's nowhere that this is a secret.
Okay. Dear Bastiaan, we want you to be one of the first to know about our upcoming launch. From the 29th of March 2023, your account will be upgraded with a new way to access Overledger, the Quant Connect portal, with new tools developed to make your access to the blockchain economy simple, trusted, and future-proof. Connect will be your one-stop shop for managing your account, registering your applications, creating smart tokens, and more. Your current access levels to Overledger remain the same. If you would like to purchase a different plan and take advantage of token creation and deployment and other Overledger innovations, you will be able to upgrade from the new dashboard you'll see on the 29th of March. What is changing? You can continue to use the current Overledger developer portal to create new applications in the production environment until the 29th of March. After that date, it will become read-only. Your existing levels of access and license features will move to the new Connect portal under a legacy plan. On the 29th April 2023, your migration to Connect will be completed, and your existing client IDs and secrets will be deactivated and need to be replaced with new keys from your new Connect account. What happens next? 29th of March, Connect goes live, and you will be able to log in and keep using Overledger as normal. You will no longer be able to buy new licenses nor register applications on the old Overledger developer portal. The 28th of April 2023. The last day, your current APIs, client IDs, and secrets, oh, I fat fingered, and secrets will work from the Overledger developer portal. The 29th of April 2023, your account will be migrated to Connect. This means that your client IDs and secrets in your applications and SDK will no longer work and must be replaced with new ones from Connect. You will no longer have access to the Overledger developer portal. What you need to do. By the 28th of April 2023, you must register any existing applications you wish to migrate on the new Connect portal. This will allow you to get a new client ID and secrets to replace existing ones with those in your applications and SDK. To do this, you will need to log on to the new Connect portal using your existing username and password, navigate to My Applications, and register your application to retrieve your new keys. Your account migration on the 29th of April will happen automatically. There is nothing you need to do. You can start using Connect from the 29th of March using your current details, and your existing access level will be active, etc. So this is okay.
We will send you. You'll send you details in a week's time. So it might be during this show that I get a new email. So let's keep it scrolled down a little bit. This you can use as another thing, like one of the breadcrumbs that you think that next week is an important week, that stuff is changing, because they told me stuff is changing, as you just read. What's kind of funny is that it already broke with the keys and the secret thing, but oh well. Let's chalk it up to development woes. But it's pretty funny, no? Or not funny, but it's interesting, no? To see.
It is beyond interesting to me. I think this is really cool, and I think it also pretty neatly coincides with the Galileo QRC20 token launch. I don't know. It is also still Q1, which is also legendary. I mean, it means they have another quarter until H1 is passed, which is also an interesting meme. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool, and yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. And as you can see in one of the final lines, that I should receive some information next week, or like in a week, and that is today, because I got this email on March 13th.
Interesting. Yeah. I love this, and I think you carved dashboard in between.
Yeah, well, it's just a joke. That's the only meme I'm familiar with.
Memeing, yes, exactly. Now, thanks for sharing this. Yeah, it doesn't state that it's super secret or whatever, which is also cool.
It is interesting that I know nobody that received this email. Even people that are paying for premium, like not premium, whatever, but I think you are paying for like access to public mainnet. And as far as I know, you didn't get this email.
No, I didn't get it. We even have an MDAP, right? That was running. I mean, my gateway is not active anymore, but we created an MDAP, and I have my addresses registered and all those things. So technically, but maybe they can just see that there's been zero activity for almost a year on it. I mean, I gave up, right? I am even more impatient than Boss. I was super motivated back in 2020. And ever since then, I have a VPS running. Thank God I overspec, and now my website is running on there, quamfyshow.com. But yeah, it's time for sure, and I think it is also
so things
time,
might be.
Yeah, I think it is also time for the community, right? Because we are now more and more, if you read Council and Council, which is also a source for a lot of the stuff that we cover here on the Quamfy Show. There's a lot of regurgitating of information. We found something we thought was, okay, that's new, that's cool. But that was actually just a passage from the Cybus document, their pamphlet they created, rehashed. And everybody is like sitting on their laurels, knowing everything's going to be okay. I mean, there's still new information coming out, but it's not like super. Nothing gets people excited anymore because everybody feels they already made it. So it's now time to finally fucking make it.
Well,
and that's what I'm definitely looking at Quant, right? It's now time to start getting your stuff online. I know you can't rush real progress, but TikTok.
Yeah, well, and things are lining up a little, or not lining up, but I remember, I think in the first few weeks of January, I was checking the updates regularly to see if something was happening. And at some point, I figured out that there were 3 releases that didn't include any documentation. Again, using bad terminology, but I started complaining about it on the Twitter, or I actually did one tweet like, what the fuck? But again, I'm not taking credit for this, but that changed, and they backfilled their documentation. Now developer Twitter is active again. All stuff that you can also say coincides with the possibility that things are ramping up a little bit.
Yeah.
I would agree with your assessment that it's about time, but I'm an impatient man, so.
Oh yeah, well,
no
you've been
surprises.
more than patient, brother, because I gave up after fucking 2021, well, beginning of 2021, when it's. I mean, I kept my gateway running and kept updating it like a good boy, up until the point where I was like, okay, if they're not answering questions, and if they do not provide decent support nor updates, and shit just keeps being broken, why would I just keep on sending faux transactions? It's just, what do you call them? Mock message. I can't remember even. I fucking purged myself from most of the information unwillingly, I might add. Probably when I start using it again, it will get back to me, but I lost my patience a lot sooner than you did, and you actually built a product that works, which is super amazing. And I'll put the link to all that's to that in the description. Shall I put the password there as well, or should people just watch the show?
Sure. Well, it's not a big secret. Well, I don't
think
care.
About that.
Do whatever you want.
Maybe pull some YouTube tricks to have people click my video.
Yeah, well, use it, man. I don't care.
Anyway, man, we're approaching.
You can get this from Greg's Patreon.
Don't go there, man. Man works for what he does.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah, no, man, his Patreon has been down for
jokes.
For months now. Anyway, I think we're gonna wrap up, man. Do you have anything you want to add? Anything that you want to chat about?
Oh, not really. I was your guest, so if you have any closing remarks or questions, I'm here for it. But otherwise, I think you filled an hour of content, right?
Yeah, it kind of feels that way. It also feels like I'm just slacking now for some reason. But
No worries.
no, man, it's can I put the mail, by the way, in the description as well? Or is that
Probably. Well, people can read the. Well, let's discuss that
true.
offline.
Yeah, that's
I don't
fine.
know.
That's fine. So everybody, if you enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe, make sure to check out by next Monday. So that'll be Monday the 27th. If the Galileo thing is up, because if the Galileo thing is up, then things are finally moving in the operational direction, at least for what we think is public main. And then we have the migration going on for the developers on the back end. Could also provide a front end update. I would not recommend, and this is obviously not financial advice, trading any of this. We are just guessing. We're all noobs and we're just exchanging thoughts here. So do not be encouraged by any of our speculations to do outrageous
For sure.
things or make any
Also,
other
not with
decisions.
my negative Nancy comments, right? So don't take my experience. I just have a small viewport into what I consider public mainnet. I make general assumptions based on my my experience, but who knows? Maybe I am one of the thousands of people interacting with public mainnet. I don't know. I don't think so, but we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. No one knows. And maybe there is indeed a lot of work going on in secrecy where people actually have stuff built, i.e. MDApps, and everybody's playing everything close to the vest because there will be a market if it all goes live. I think this is also not financial advice, but it seems to be the preferred way forward, right? The gateway thing, and can imagine that everybody plays this close to the vest. But yeah, we'll see. For now, you have Quanterscan. You can at least in some way, shape, or form check the status of Overledger and the Galileo thing. If that will be QRC20, that will also be a very nice canary, a positive canary in the coal mine. So, boss, thank you so much, brother, for being on the show so ad hoc, first minute. Appreciate it. Appreciate your is that candidness, your honesty, and your
Well, probably stupidity, but oh well.
no man, we love you, and yeah, hope to see you on the show again.
Thanks. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, anybody, if you have any questions, throw them in the comments, throw them in the Dutch group, throw them in. I'm not in that many quant groups anymore, but you can always just send an email, go to our website at thequamfyshow.com, and we'll do our best to get back to you. So for now, make sure to stay quamfy, and we'll see you in Dutch in a week and in English in 2 weeks. Cheers.